Hello everybody, Larry Young here again with another segment of OLaMan Living Life with Purity. And today I want to let you all know that it is June the 30th. And I had told everyone at the beginning of this month that I was naming June Get Your Poop in a Group month. So today being the last day of the month, I want to make sure that everyone who is watching this took some advice out of that and has done things to gather their life together, making sure they eliminated the trash and things that get in the way. Get all this stuff out of the way. Make sure that you're ready to move forward because the next few months are going to be really intense. I have a strong feeling that the 4th of July weekend coming up, since it's going to be so long and there's going to be so much contentious talk going on, it's the start of the real mess in our society. So be ready for it. Make sure you know who you are and that you're comfortable in that and that you are not going to let the craziness and the paranoia that is bound to affect us get in the way. Did you ever watch old Scooby-Doo TV shows when you were a kid? I know I did. And at the end of the episode, they would always reveal who the villain was, and the villain was usually wearing a mask, and they'd rip off the mask, and then there'd be the real identity of the culprit revealed. And then one time there was an episode where the villain was wearing two masks, and the first mask was ripped off, and everyone goes, "Oh my, it's him! We knew it all along." And then they rip off that mask, and it's the other person that no one suspected. So there was like a double switch up there. Well, something like that is kind of going on in our society right now. It's been a tough month. A lot of people who have been believing what one side of the debate calls false statements and not lies has been believing this falsehood for several years now. It's been covered up, and it became embarrassingly clear the other night on TV during a debate. What that has done, it has left our country and the esteem that we used to have in the world at an all-time low. This has emboldened our enemies quite a bit. I had always thought that there was going to be a major move done by China before election. I know it's going to happen now. China will not let this opportunity go to waste. They know that the United States does not have strong leadership and a great position and is very weak right now, and so they're going to take advantage of that. What will this mean to the average person? Probably just more bills and more heartache for sending our sons and daughters into harm's way. What's it going to mean for the rest of the world? I don't know. The rest of the world seems to have hit their echo point with the progressive craziness and these thoughts of eliminating personal responsibility and God in our voices. It's kind of hit this wall, and it's sort of bouncing back. And now the people in other countries who have been living with this a little bit longer than the United States has is taking a complete pendulum swing back the other way. And they're voting out all these progressive type thinkers and bringing in more conservative types. And amazingly, these conservative types are younger, which is a great sign for the rest of us, that there is hope, and it lies in our younger people who have had good formation. They've been tested, they've had losses, they've had things that have created character in their lives. And these are people that are rising to the top and are taking on leadership positions. I think it's a great thing. I think that stress causes strength. When you work through it, adversity, all these things make for a better outcome. If you don't have a conflict and a decision that you need to make, you probably don't have all the facts together yet. So what you always need to do is check on these things. Make sure that you've crossed all the points of interest, and you've looked at it from every viewpoint to make sure you're doing the right thing. This type of thinking has been lost on our society and the worldwide society probably since the mid-2000s, late 2000s. I think it all kind of started with the bank collapse in 2008. And there was this position that was taken by so many of the world leaders right then that they were ready to give in to whatever it is that the people with the money and the power swing wanted to say. And at that time, it came down a lot to the United States and Germany, and China just kept lending money because they knew they were just building a collateral position in the rest of the world. But what we're at right now is we're at a point right now where the masks have been taken off at the end of the Scooby-Doo, and people are realizing that what they thought was going on is not. And now their head is having a real firestorm inside their heads because they feel like they've been let down. They weren't let down. They just yielded their position and their thinking and their authority without thinking. They gave in to what they thought was the right way to go because somebody else told them so. They didn't think for themselves. So what we're having right now is a lot of people are saying, I'm not going to follow that bullshit anymore that you've been feeding me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my own thinking, what my own eyes see, and this is the decision I'm going to make. But what that does is it causes more friction and pain for those people around them, the old unicorns as we know them as. What we need to do is make sure that these precious little unicorns are trained in a way of realizing they're just a horse with a horn. And so we need to keep them in check, and we need to know where they're at, and we need to watch them, not follow them. But we need to try to correct their behavior and let them know that they made a mistake and it's possible to come back. And you can still be a useful horse in this world right now. We will still treat you with love and affection, but you're not a unicorn. You're really not. But this is going to cause a lot of problem for a lot of people, and a lot of these unicorn types are going to act out. They already have. It's going to get a lot worse. So be careful of the unicorn and be careful of your steps that you take. And I'm not saying freak out. I'm just saying be cautious. Trust your eyes. Trust the facts of what's going on around you. Be careful about who you're listening to, who you're giving your regard to. We still have a chance of making this work. But Our Lady has given warnings before. And what this world right now is trying to do is to eliminate her voice, her impact, and especially that of God in the world. God is being told to a lot of people he's just an artifact, and my God wouldn't do this and my God wouldn't do that. Well, what would your God do? Tell me about that. And so much of this is left out. All of their God impressions are that God allows everything and God forgives everything. Yes, he does, but you have to ask for it. You have to ask for forgiveness. You have to admit that you failed, that you sinned. That's when God forgives. God doesn't forgive just because he does it every day at 5 o'clock. You have to atone for your sins. You need to make sure that you're trying to live a life of virtue, of purity, as we like to say. A lot of people with this woke agenda and things like that, when they want to talk about Jesus and how Jesus lived, they want to portray Jesus as being this sort of like hippie type that walked all around and said, hey man, that's cool, you're cool, I'm cool, we're all cool, that's all right, man, hang in there, bro, type of stuff. Jesus wasn't like that. Jesus spent more time, I think, going around and telling people to cut that shit out. He says, you don't do that shit around here. We don't do that. Stop it. He forgave, but he also told them, hey, stop that shit. Don't do it anymore. He was calling it out for what it was. He said it to the Pharisees. He told it to the adulterous woman. Unfortunately, he didn't have the adulterous man there at the same time, because he probably would have told them both, hey, keep it in your pants. Let's go. Stop that crap. I think that was more what Jesus was about. He was probably kinder in his words, but who knows? I mean, a lot of stuff has been filtered down. I'm sure Jesus had a pretty abrupt sense of temper, if it came along, if that was what we want to call it. But I imagine Jesus had quite a definite opinion about right and wrong when it was happening and what to do about that. So a lot of these people out there that think that, Jesus was this cool cat running around. Well, Jesus probably was a cool cat. He probably had some great things around the campfire at night to share with the guys and the people in the town, and probably a lot of stuff that we just never caught and never got written down. There's probably more people, I say, that Jesus healed than the book tells us about. So get ready for this summer and fall. Remember, Jesus does forgive, but he asks us to come to him with our sins, and to be mindful that atonement requires penance. It requires restitution. If you've hurt somebody and taken something from them, if you've caused them harm, you need to do what you can to fix it, whether you repair it or pay for it or whatever it is. These are your responsibilities. A lot of this is being left out of the jargon these days. Everything's forgiveness, loan forgiveness, property damage forgiveness, all because it was done out of a sense of emotion and passion at that time. Well, that still doesn't dissolve the responsibility factor. So let's stay strong. Let's stay mindful of these things. Let's keep things together. Remember, the warnings have been given. And I'm not so certain that we haven't passed the point of being able to bounce back. I really don't know. It's going to depend a lot upon how you react and those around you react, and what types of messaging we're going to demand from our people. I talked before that we don't want, out of our church leaders and things like that, we do not want or need political responses. We need actual answers, and we need action. And we need for these things to be taking place. If there are rules, let's enforce the rules. Let's not let certain people go by just because they're prominent, and it might cause friction in the information space out there. And it might conflict with this message or that message. Well, it's either it is or it isn't. So let's stop, bullshitting each other. Let's get down to it. Let's get the stuff fixed. So June the 30th is today. July 1st is tomorrow. Have a safe and sane 4th of July coming up. I hope you've got a chance, if you've got family, that you can all get together. Maybe have some hot dogs and hamburgers and those other kinds of things. I miss those days. No family here, so I'll be probably working that day again, and just trying to keep my own world spinning here. So if I don't hear from anybody, hope you have a great 4th of July weekend. And remember, I love you, and I'll be back.